All right, all right, all right. Look at this. All right, see where I can the level mute. See what's in. Okay. Wait for people to come on. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, here we go. All right. Hello, can you hear me? I'm not sure if the audio is working. All right. Can I have a thumbs up if you can hear me? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, just waiting for a few people to come on board. I'm a couple minutes early here. Just kind of getting back into the swing of things and make sure the computer's working. Using my wife's laptop. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Cool. 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 All right. So, how's everybody doing? It's been a while since we did a live chat. The what do you call it? They're getting back into the swing of things now. That spring is underway, and we can get out there and start working on some two strokes. As you can see, I still have my winter physique on, so that's going to be coming off. And what do you call it? I still got my short hair, like my buzz cut for my helmet. We got to get out there and get that done. So we got all kinds of things I wanted to talk to you guys about, and some of the things I want to talk to you guys about. Um, well, is showing off things like this from Bike Master. Now, I don't know if you guys saw my short. I did a short on this right here, and this is for a KLR 650, but it fits the KE 100, and it's a perfect alternative. The they use a different part number simply because it has a 12-volt light bulb. So, to make this work for your bike, all you gotta do, undo your two screws, pop your cap off, change the light bulb, and now this right here, put a 6-volt bulb in it, and it'll work on a KE or a KM. Right there. Also, wanted to talk to you guys about some of the books I use. So some of the books I use to get all my specifications are the climber manuals, because I get asked this a lot. One of the questions is, what do I need for tools? The first tool you should have in your toolbox, in your library, is a manual for the bike you're working on. As you can see, I use several of them. Climber, I got it for the Suzuki, got it for the Kawasaki. I even have the Haynes ones because sometimes you'll find information in the Haynes that you won't find in the Climber, or you'll find it in the Climber and not in the Haynes. Also, you'll have off-brand books like the KV75 book. These books come in handy. Where do I get these books from? I collect them. I'm a book collector. I don't even have this bike right here, but it's nice to have the book to it. Okay, so whenever I go to a yard sale, I go to a flea market, I go to a bookstore that might be closing down. I'm not a book guy. I don't go to bookstores and stuff like that. But when they're closing down, I like to see what they got for manuals, and that's where I have um, probably about 3 totes full of motorcycle manuals and stuff like that I use. It's always good to have the specifications because one of the things I don't like to do, I don't like to remember specs because I deal with so many different bikes. It's easily to confuse them. For instance, the Kawasaki KE100, I've done so many of them. I know that the points gap by heart is 13 thousandths. But when you go work on, say, a Yamaha, it's more. It's like 16 thousandths or something like that. So for that purpose, I like to revert back to my manuals. Manuals are the most important tool. I can't stress this enough because this is gonna talk you through all your repair. Okay, this is gonna be this is gonna give you your how tos, what to adjust, how to adjust it, and all that. It's right in your manuals. So these are the types of things that you want to make sure you keep a library of books because a library of books is knowledge. Knowledge will get the bike done. And of course, you can use my videos. But sometimes you'll be watching one of my videos and you may not have exactly what you need. I always try to cover the whole entire thing. But if you can look at my carburetor series, I have several carburetor talk videos, several ignition talk videos, because it's very difficult through video to get everything in one shot. I mean, even though there's only a few components, it's so in depth. It's so in depth when you're working on these things to make sure you cover every piece of the pie, you know, every piece of these things. So that's where the manuals come in. The manuals are really your bread and butter for all that, because once again, you're gonna own the bike. It's your bike, and you're gonna, down the road, you'll be like, maybe I need a new chain and sprocket. Okay, I'll watch Kevin Bergeron's videos, and he'll tell me, how you doing? He'll tell me exactly how to do it on his videos. But then there might be something I might have left out of the video, or something that you need like right now. I need this information right now. I'm already got my bike apart, and that's where your manuals come into. And my videos are always based off of the manual anyway. I always try to get them, thorough as I can to the manual. And but once again, it's a YouTube channel. It's a video. It's a video blog, and sometimes, like I said, in like the carburetor videos or my ignition videos, I may not get to absolutely everything you're looking for. So I show you shortcuts and all that. Um, I am planning on doing some hands-on live. So we're going to have Two Stroke Tuesdays. We're going to be doing that. And then we're going to be doing some live tech. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. I might have to do a demo run. So it won't be for a couple weeks until the weather starts getting better, but we're going to do some tech. And what I mean by that is I'm going to show you how to check things, how to test things, and basically make a flow chart of how things should be and what to check first. I have a lot of people asking me, how you doing, Dean? David, sorry, I'm wearing my glasses, so I apologize if yeah, Dean. So it's one of those things where I'm going to do my best to teach you guys using tech to do the video chat and all this, and then you guys can answer your questions, because even in the forum, I see a lot of questions that come up, and I'm at work during the day. I don't get to see all these. There's really not that many avenues that you guys ask about, so it's really just carburation, ignition, and certain electrical. So I think I might make a dummy bike. What I mean by that is take an electrical harness and put it onto a board, and then all the lights and everything but the bike, but laid out on a piece of plywood. And then I'll teach you guys how to do some testing, and then you guys can ask your questions. Like maybe you have, for instance, your lights. I turn my directional on, and everything blinks. Where's the ground? Those sort of things. How do I test the ground? How do I properly clean the ground? These are questions that typically get asked. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do that through the tech videos, and of course my YouTube channel as well. YouTube this year is going to be a little different. So the channel has grown significantly, even when I haven't been making videos. I get my report card every month, and the channel has grown, even without doing videos, which is amazing. I can't believe the support and love that I have for this channel. So I really want to do more, and that's what my wife and I are working on right now. We're going to work on doing some more this year, maybe sell some calendars and some stuff, but no parts. Sorry, guys, not selling parts. We need the parts for the videos. We're going to introduce a couple of new bikes to the channel this year, and we only have a couple of bikes that I need to finish up, and two motors, two bikes that I need to finish up for customers. And then after that, I'm not taking any more in for this year, and we're going to work on our the bikes I have for the channel. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's going to be um, this year's calendar is going to be my bikes, and then next year I'm going to have people in the forum submit their pictures, and then my wife and I and my kids are going to have a family night and pick pick pictures for the next calendar, which is going to be pretty cool because it's going to bring you guys along with it, and you guys get to see your bikes, which is pretty cool. So those are some things that just a little hint of what we're going to be doing. So I need to take a sip of my drink. Jimmy. So those are some of the things. We're also going to be talking a lot more in depth with everything that I've covered. I know you guys are like, wow, you already covered everything. I have, but what I've noticed is people are still doing things they're not supposed to, like gapping points using a what you call it there, a business card. That worked on a car, doesn't work on a bike, especially these bikes. I have a lot of people talking about the oil to use on these bikes. What I still find a lot of people trying to do is take these bikes and make them into what they're not, and that's motocross. These bikes will never compete in motocross. They're never going to be past 11 horsepower. Period. That's it. They're 11 horsepower motors. That's what they are. You can get more performance out of them, but they're not. You're not going to get a KE 100 50 feet in the air holding onto the back of the seat. We all know that. But there are still people who are willing to try this. Oil, for instance, is one of them, especially with like synthetics. It was like, well, new Mun synthetics, they use them and the clutches are fine. Well, not on a KE. And the reason for that, as I always say, the clutches are so small. And when those clutches, they need regular conventional motor oil. And we're going to, oh, that stinks. I am sorry. In fact, I just got a message. I'm sorry, I can barely read the name. My 75 kV was stolen. That that really sucks. But I would like to do something on that. If you can go onto my Facebook page, the let me pull it up real quick. I would like for you to do an ad showing if you have any pictures of the bike, which would be great. Let me just get back to this here. Hold on a second. Um, if you're not already a member, this is what my page looks like. It's got my 3 bikes that started it. Okay, it's Kawasaki KE100, KM100, KD80M. It's got the. See if I can angle it correctly with the light. The light's terrible, but oh, 1 second. Let me see if I can turn this brightness down here because the room is bright enough. Okay, there we go. There you go. That's the page right there. Okay. Go on that page, write up an ad, and post that on there. And we'll keep an eye open for that. That really sucks. I'm really sorry for that. It always sucks when someone's bike gets stolen or taken. I mean, people are just terrible nowadays. So yeah, please do that. So, man, that sucks. That really does suck. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so like I said, we're going to be doing some different things on the channel this year, and I want to get the stuff onto a board, teach you guys how to troubleshoot and really diagnose. And I was talking about the points is what I was talking about. People still using business cards to set points, and that's not how you do it. Field gauges. I teach one way, and my way has been the way of the land for ever since these things were built. And I'm going to teach you guys tools that you absolutely need. If you're going to own a bike like a KE or even a Suzuki, We're going to do this. We're going to break it down into individuals as I do these particular bikes on the channel. We're going to implement, that if you're doing, these bikes right here, what exactly you need for tools. Because I think a lot of people, they see me using Milwaukee, they see me using Snap-on, they see me using all these expensive Matco tools. But you have to understand, I'm a professional mechanic. These are what I use. And as I showed several times, there is no reason that you can't go over to Harbor Freight and get what you need over at Harbor Freight. I'm not a fanboy of the tools that I use. I like the Harbor Freight stuff myself. And in fact, I own quite a bit of Harbor Freight stuff. There's nothing wrong with Harbor Freight. Just because I use the expensive tools on my channel doesn't mean you have to. So I just want you guys to know that this is a judgment-free zone. If you guys have Ryobi, that's what you got. Use what you got. But I'm gonna teach you guys the absolute tools that you need and the proper way of using them. We're gonna get into more what do you call it? I like to get more in depth. We've already covered everything on the KE100 that I think we could possibly cover. But every time we do that, you guys come up with some great ideas, and so now I revisit it. We have a couple of new bikes. One of them is an XR80 that does not run. So we need to get that up and going. This year, we're going to be doing the Suzuki crank bearings on my DS80. I'm going to get that done. We're going to finish off the KE102 build this year because I really want to ride that. I don't know if you can see what's in back of me here. I'll show you real quick. This rack right here is from a Trail Boss, cut up and modified to fit a KE. So this is going on my KE100. Pretty cool, huh? So it's all been modified to fit a KE100. So I'll be showing you guys more in depth of what I had to do to this thing to make it, but it's all welded up. Looks good. It's going to be a nice little add-on to my bike. And the guy who did it, he says, "Hey, Larry, thank you." So so I can't wait to show you guys how I did that and how it's going to be attached to the bike. I think you're going to enjoy it. I think you're going to like it. And a lot of the things I do, and you guys might remember this from the Andrew bike build. When I did the Andrew bike build, I set parameters. One, I don't want to drill into the frame. I don't want to alter the frame in any way, shape, or form. Everything I do has to be bolt on and has to be accessible. So you should be able to take it on and off the bike with just simple tools. These are some of the things I do. When I did the Andrew bike build, which is complete, the bike is great. There was no drilling. Everything had to work as factory. Everything had to be used that was factory. So the oil reservoir, the automatic oiler, the headlight had to work. Excuse me. All that stuff had to work exactly the way it was intended by the factory, by the manufacturer. And that bike came out absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to build more just like it. We're going to, at the end of this year, I'd like to start on the, what do you call it there? The ZM50. And you probably, what the heck is a ZM50? It's a Z50 Honda with a MB5 engine on it. I think I showed you guys that a while back. That bike right there is going to have a 50cc 5-speed. Yep, you're right, 5-speed. And it's going to be a fast little bike. So 2-stroke, of course. It's going to be a Honda 2-stroke. So the Z is because the Z50, and the M part is because it's an MB5. So MB50. So it's a ZM50 Honda. We also have a bike that was donated to the channel that we're going to be working on this year a lot, which is another Honda. It's a Honda MT 250. And Larry, not Larry, what do you call it there? One of my other buddies has one just like it. Dale has one, and there was another person who had one. I forgot. I know Dale. Dale is working on one, and I have the one I have. So mine was beat to hell, and when I say beat to hell, um, they broke the case and everything. They gob welded because they shouldn't own a welder. They gob welded the sprocket to the shaft. So I got all the parts and pieces. I got the cases over the winter. I got the transmission gears. I got everything I needed to put the bike together. New bearings, stuff like that. And I'm going to show you guys because a lot of the stuff has on these different motors have what they call interference fit. And I'm going to be doing a lot of comparison. I know it's a 250, but I'm going to compare them to the 100s that we use because the 100s are built, and you guys might remember me saying this a bunch of times, it's built sloppy. And the parts fit right into the spots where they go. It's not tight tolerances or anything like that. So definitely not tight tolerances, very light tolerances. But the other bikes that we're going to be doing have tighter tolerances and how to achieve that pulling bearings, um, heating up the case, freezing the bearing, putting them in, pressing them in, doing that sort of thing. So you're going to learn um, a different style of repairs than you're probably used to. So by the time I get done with you guys are going to have a lot of knowledge on what to expect and what you're going to be hands on doing when it comes to these type of bikes. So it should be very very educational for you. You're going to learn a lot, and that's the plan for this channel. And of course, many of you guys have talked with me over the winter with questions and stuff like that. So keep those coming. Um, as always, you guys know you guys can talk to me anytime about these bikes and your questions for yours. Modifications this year. One of the modifications I plan on doing is with my little my KD80. That bike is going to get. Sorry, I've worked all day. I'm tired. I'm still dirty. Um, that bike is going to get a speedometer and what was it? Yeah, speedometer, the cable, and the whole brake assembly in the front. And I'll show you how easy it is to convert that over to have a speedometer. What was that? One of the other things. That thing's CDI. Oh, we're gonna do the beginning of the spring. One of my bikes. I'm gonna take one, probably the KD80, out and what do you call it? There, go through the winter part of it. I also have that light there that we have to install on my KM100, and um, someone sent me these lights, by the way, and I don't know who sent these to me. So if you guys do happen to send me any care packages, which I really appreciate these, but I still haven't found who sent them to me. And I have a few people who send me parts and pieces, on a regular basis, but this package didn't even have a name. So it was just these in the box, and that was it. So there's two of them. So whoever sent these, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. But once again, if you do send any type of fan mail or anything like that, please put a name on it so I can say thank you because I really appreciate that. And that right there was one of the KLR 650. I had mentioned it in an earlier video, and then they actually got them, and I guess it must have worked on their bike, but I don't know who sent them because it was a while. I've talked to like several people about these lights, so I don't know who did that, but thank you. Man, we got so much. We're gonna have a great summer, a great spring. We have what do you call it there? We're gonna expand it. Like I said, we're gonna do oh, here's one for you. I have my little what do you call it there? Yamaha Breeze, my 125 four wheeler. I purposely purposely left the fuel in it over the winter. And the reason for this, so from when I did my last not stream, but my last video, I literally left the fuel in the bike. I left it in there, pulled the battery out, and we're going to see how bad what it does to that Chinese carburetor after sitting all winter long. And when I say all winter, I mean all winter. So we're durability testing that Chinese carburetor. I did purchase a secondary carburetor just in case, but people have been asking me about the Chinese carburetors. I haven't had any issues with them. I've cleaned them just the exact same way. I literally haven't had any issues with them. And one of the other things we're going to do this year is I'm going to teach you guys how to make ethanol-free fuel. So I saw a bunch of people doing it. It's a great deal. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you guys how I did that and see how it works. Hopefully, I can tell if this is actually working. My stream is, here we go. This working? I can't really. Can you guys hear me all right? Because it literally just looks like it went out on my end. I just can't keep going here. All right. So anyway, so what are you guys working on? You guys working anything fun, exciting? Have you guys gotten your bikes out yet? Anybody doing that yet? No? So, yeah, we have, what you call, I wanted to check something out real quick. Okay, yep. Perfect. Okay, I'm just checking something here real quick because I'm not really sure if this is working here. So, boom. Yeah, I can't really tell if this is working. Okay, I'm good. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on. I'm like, my thing keeps blinking and glitching. I got a 70 YZ125. Need a stator. Is there a stator? From my right. There. So the YZ should have a charge coil, not charge coil, an ignition coil, primary coil, and your bike points, right? 79. Actually, that might be CDI. Oh, good. Oh, thank you for all the comments here. This is awesome. Yeah, so the YZ125 actually came through with a couple of different what do you call it there? A couple of different ignitions. It came with points or the CDI. It depends upon what end of that year you got. And typically what I would say, I mean, I don't know the situation with your YZ, but I would definitely, if it's got points, change the points in condenser. If it's a CDI, I believe that one is in the coil as well. So you'll have to send me some pictures on that one because I'm really not sure which one that has. Oh, DR125 is a great bike. That thing is awesome. Let's see. Okay. But I can't get it to start up for some reason. Okay, well, funny you say that. With your spark, you got. So you can have spark on a plug. Okay, and this is this one. This plug is in a prime example of that. This plug right here, and I'm going to be showing this in my my ignition video. I actually have two plugs. This I put a threaded thing on this one so I didn't mix them up. But this plug right here will not run a bike. It will spark, but it will not fire a bike because the spark is not hot enough. It's just too weak. And there's a resistor in here And so you got the core that goes right from the top down to the tip. And then there's a resistor that goes from that center core to the casing. That resistor shorts out and it's all over. This thing is no good. Literally NFG. So I have another plug, and this plug right here fired the bike up perfectly. So I kept these two plugs actually right here on my bureau because I'm going to be showing you guys if this plug right here will not start the bike. I change out the plug and this one will do it. So first thing in any ignition diagnostics, any ignition, this is the cheapest replacement. This is the cheapest part in the whole thing. I'm not saying throw parts at it, but these right here are, how you doing? Okay. These right here are the cheapest part of maintenance that you could possibly have. And unlike a 4-stroke, 2-strokes eat plugs because oil gets in between the porcelain and the electrode and shorts out that resistor. It weakens it. 2-stroke oil. It just breaks them down. That's why I recommend NGK plugs. NGK plugs do it too, but not as quickly as say like an Autolite or a Champion. Don't put Champion in anything. Okay, they went downhill so bad. Not a good plug. NGK. I do use Autolite, but the Autolites fall out just as quick as the other brands. But the Platinum, the what do you call it there, the NGK, that's the way to go. So if you get those, and don't use Platinum on these KEs, but on the other bikes, regular standard plug. If you have a bike that's 1996 or newer, you need to have the blue writing. That right there is the resistor. That's the resistor plug. You cannot use the regular plug. It will not work. The what do you call it? It'll run like complete garbage. Vice versa. If you have points, you don't want to use a resistor plug because your resistor is built into your spark plug cap. There'll be two resistors. The resistance will be too much, and you'll have bad ignition, poor quality. After this, and I've always said this on my channel, this is part of a maintenance. Your points and condenser are also part of a tune-up. If the bike's been sitting for a few years, maybe I'm going to say 4 years plus, then you need to replace your points and condensers because they break down. I could pull start it, but not. You mean like wrap a rope? Yeah, you talk about wrapping it around with like a rope and pulling it on the magneto, but you can't. It won't kickstart. How will you pull start it? Or you grab it by the handlebars with it in gear and running it. I've done that a couple of times. That's dangerous, but it does work. And the reason for that is because you're using the transmission to spin it faster. If that's the case, then I would do a compression test and see what your compression is, because typically the compression will be low, and then you put it in gear, and now you're using the higher range of gearing to move it faster. Pull with a full. Okay, pull with a full. Oh well. Yeah, sounds like you got some things to check. So, definitely check your compression. Definitely check and see if it's CDI or points, and let me know on that, and I can help you out a little bit more with that. Projects do you? Oh, I have all kinds of projects coming up. And welcome. In fact, welcome everyone. Thank you guys for being with me tonight on our first live chat. As you can tell, I'm nervous because it's been a long time. So, getting into the flow of things. Projects we're working on this year. We have 2 customers and 2 customers' bikes, 2 customers' motors, and then we're going on to my stuff. And we're going to be working on the KE102 build this year, the ZM50, which I explained earlier in that's a Honda 50 with a Honda 2-stroke 50 motor. My Honda, what did I say there? The 250 Honda there, the MT 250, 2-stroke, which is a cool bike. We're going to be doing that one this year. And whatever else comes in too, whatever else I pick up, my wife and I are on the hunt for bikes. So whatever else comes in, and my my XR80, and the DS80. We got to do those. I got a lot of those motors, and I got the new bearings, the new seals, the new gaskets. So I want to fix that motor that's blown with the blown. I did a video on it. It's a DS80 with bad crank bearings, and in the video I taught how to check for bad crank bearings, and that right there, that bike will be showcasing and going through it. Teach you guys how to do all that, and of course pressure testing. I don't do a lot of that on the channel. I do it. I have shown it, but I'm going to get more into it. I'm going to get more into why pressure testing is important and why it should be done regularly. Now, a lot of times I do it in between videos, because it is kind of a pain in the neck to tear down a bike and do a pressure test and have to fabricate parts and pieces to block things off. But once you do that and you get the bike, you get all your tools made for that, it makes it worth it. And I'll show you some household stuff that you can use to make pressure testing. So stuff you're kicking around. So because you really want to pressure test a 2-stroke, because that's, if you pressure test a 2-stroke, you're really getting it and identify the integrity of the motor. Is the motor have vacuum leaks or pressure leaks? If they do, you're going to burn it up, or you're going to have problems down the road. Might even melt a hole in a piston. So it's very, very important that we do that. So how to check, see if the oil injection works. The oil injection system on those are very, very, very good. If you see smoke coming out the tailpipe and it's not white, it's like a grayish color, and you can smell the oil burning, you know it's working. You can also check the settings onto it. Once again, I can't stress it enough. You need to get the books to find out, like, some of the books I use, to find out where the timing marks are for that. Set your marks out, and then what you can do is you can literally shut the bike off, disconnect the oil line, kick the bike over, and see if oil pumps out. And there's actually procedures that will teach you how to do that in your manual. I don't have a manual for that particular bike, but you can get them on eBay, Amazon, or stuff like that, and they'll have the instructions on how to do what I call a flow test on a on an oil pump. Now, in my experience with oil pumps, after 37 years, I have never had one fail, except for the one that did fail. It over-oiled, and that was on my KM100. And it literally went through oil overnight. It literally had, I filled up the tank. I came outside the next day and I was at a half a tank. And when I kicked the engine over, it literally just fouled the plug instantly. Oh, sweet. An F67. Wow. Nice. Those are some nice bikes. I'm not really too familiar with the early the F7 stuff like that. Those are real early bikes. They're nice. I love them, but I don't have anything like that here. Hopefully get some over the, when they come up here. Certain bikes in my area are kind of hard to find, but what I've been finding is families of bikes. So what I mean by that is, when I got my KV7, excuse me, hey, water, dried out. when I got my KV75, it was a hard bike to find. Then I got a ton of them. It's like, and that's just how it's been. The KE100, when I got my KE100, I got a ton of them. When I got my KM100, I got a ton of them. I've gotten rid of bikes. I got rid of one of my KV75s. I got rid of my orange one, the one that had the coated tank. That one's gone. I got rid of the my 76 and my 78 KM100s. So I just got my yellow one right now. So I've gotten rid of a few of them, and it's just crazy how they come in, and they come in packs. Suzuki, same thing. I got my DS80. I got a bunch of them. It's just crazy. It's weird. It's like bikes are coming in waves. So if I get an F7 or an F6, it'll probably come with a bunch more. It's just how they've been. It's been weird. My area is kind of a really weird. Massachusetts is weird. Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont. If they have one, they've got a bunch. And people have bikes everywhere, and barns, sheds, and everything else. They've got a ton of them, and they don't do anything with them. They just sit there. And I hear, well, I'm going to get to that someday. And the person telling me this, no offense to anybody, but they're in their 60s. It's like, what are you going to do with that? You know? How many do you have now? I have, right now, I have my DS80, my DS100, one of each. I got my XR80. I have my MT250 Honda. I got my KE, my KM, and my KD. I got my GT80. What else I got? I have my KV75, my KDE 50, and which is the Andrew bike build. I have one bike I'm waiting for a tank for, another a KV75, and a friend of mine has. Once I finish off his engine, I'm sending him the engine. He's sending me the tank and the other parts. It's kind of a trade-off deal on that one. And then I'll have another nice KV75. Oh, that reminds me. Speaking about that, I also have my KV75. I have the original speedometer and the marker lights and the rack for a 75 from online, and what do you call it there? So those are all going to be put on the bike. So that bike will actually have directionals, which is weird. It's very rare here in the States. I have a 99 K, I believe it was. Wow, 10 years, jeez. Like, it would kick over. What is this thing here? Oh, my thing's freezing up here. 1 second. Here we go. Okay, oh, this is a hard thing. Okay, can't see what that. The rubber plug. The rubber plug. I'm not really understanding this. Hold on 1 second. It would. Oh no, those rubbers never get sucked in there. That is a drain. With that does two things. That rubber at the bottom of the carburetor bowl with the two brass plugs at the bottom. What that does, Mark, is the two rubber plugs fit into that rubber piece, and then that rubber piece fits into the block. And that right there is stationary. That's a rubber anti-vibration mount. That's supposed to keep the insulator from cracking and breaking, and from twisting, because you only have that one screw clamp on the side. And it allows the carburetor, if it overflows, to drain onto the ground and not fill up inside there. So that can't get sucked into the engine. It's too heavy, actually. So what will happen is if that does deteriorate, it'll fall to the bottom and stay there. You might hear it knocking around in there, but it will not go through the carburetor. It will not make it into the engine. Um, I've never seen anything like that. I have seen people, like yourself, being nervous about that, but it doesn't. That's not something that happens. So it won't even make it through the carburetor. It won't even make it through the carburetor venturi. It'll, if it did, just for all intents and purposes, if it did fit in there, it would stop. The only part that was missing and found in Kickstarter and piece on the piston melted. Yeah, so that right there, and it had some in the and the rotary valve. Yeah, I never seen anything like that. That sounds like something else. Maybe an air filter. I've seen air filter chunks and pieces come through, but I don't. Yeah, check your air filter. Because sometimes the rubber, and I see what you're saying, but where it's down below, they typically fall to the bottom if they do deteriorate to the bottom where they fall off. But I have seen the air filter where it's got the metal cage, the air filter goes around it, but that rubber ring on both sides, if that deteriorates or if there was an old one in there, I could see that going through because that's up high and it'll fall in the airstream. That's a good possibility, especially if you're into a corner and that thing comes off. It bounces around through there. It can get in there. I can see that an old deteriorated air filter. So yeah, definitely check that. Um, it just seems like something more. Yeah, yeah. It's probably a chunk of an air filter, and oftentimes too when that air box when you pull it out, you really have to pull in that air filter. I mean, it could have chafed. It's a good possibility that it chafed a piece of rubber off when it was pulled out or pushed in, and then maybe before you got it, it was just kind of stuck in the corner there, and then got let go. So that's a good possibility. I had something like that with the KD80. Um, it really it didn't do nothing to the bike, but it was a piece of air filter debris, and it just kind of it was kind of like a powdery. Oh, that's what it was. When I took the carburetor cover off to check and see what was going on inside there, the air filter had deteriorated to the point where it was dust and coated everything orange. It was like everything. The carburetor was just covered in orange. The little air jet in the front that's what happened. It plugged up the air jet in the front there, and the whole thing was just filled with. It looked like sawdust at first, but it was like an orange fine mist. But particles, not mist, but like a particle covering, coating everything. It was terrible, terrible. So yeah, it could be the rubber from that. I have seen stuff like that happen, but definitely never that rubber at the bottom. So yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy what you'll find, and you never know what you're gonna find. I mean, I've been doing this for 37 years. I've seen some crazy stuff. People do some crazy, crazy stuff. Drill holes all the way through the Kickstarter, through the shaft, and because they couldn't get it. But people, you didn't have the internet that they had back then. Back then didn't have the internet. Um, they didn't have access to, and believe it or not, a lot of metric stuff, a lot of metric bolts and parts places didn't. You bought the bike, but if it was a KD80 or anything like that, it was hard to get parts for even back then. Nobody stocked them. It wasn't a bike that everybody owned. I mean, there was a lot of them, but it wasn't. They were so spread out through the United States. It wasn't like they were selling a ton of coils. They were selling a ton of points. They were selling a ton of this, selling a ton of that. I mean, realistically, when people had a KD80 or a KE100 or a bike like that, they kept it for 10, 15 years until it didn't run no more. And at that point, it was like, okay, the points went out. Hey, how you doing? From oh wow, going nice. Well, yeah, the weather is getting nice. Running perfect. I found you on the ship. Oh, great, thank you. Well, welcome, D. Yeah, I have heard tuning. Yeah, I have been turning wrenches on the since '83. Oh, awesome. Good, good, good. So never seen. Yeah, it's one of those things that you never know what each bike is different. You never know what you're going to see, what you're going to find. It's crazy. It's just it's amazing. My dog's trying to get in. But yeah, you never know what you're going to find in these bikes, and every bike has its own story. And typically, it's someone trying to motocross these bikes. And they'll tell you like, "Oh, I beat the hell out of it," like it was a good thing. And you get the bike, and the bike is all decrepit, and nothing's working on it, and you're like, "Okay, here we go. We have to start from ground zero." But that's part of the adventure. That's the way you want to get the bike. You want to get a bike with a good story, good history. I love mine. I tell you, I enjoy riding them. Um, I got my Virago 1100. As you guys know, you guys saw I got my bike back. My original bike that I got when I was 16, my CB 350. The one I put the 360 engine on, and that's going to get electronic ignition this year, and new coil packs. It's always been one of those bikes that no matter what the condition was, it always ran. And when I got the bike back, the guy says to me, goes, "Kevin, it doesn't run." And I giggled. I go, "No, it runs. It always ran." And it was weird because after I shot the video, I checked the paperwork and stuff. I had my receipt book and I checked it, and he didn't put a mile on that bike. It sat for 13. After I sold it to him, it sat for 13 years. He robbed some stuff off it, like the mirrors and the seat and that ugly rack I had on the back of that bike. Thank God I took that off. And that was all he took. And then I got the bike back. And then I cleaned the car. I didn't even clean the car. I just drained them down, ran some fresh gas into them, took the plugs back off, flushed it again, flushed the tank with acid, and then and then put fresh gas in it, a couple of filters, and the bike always needed an ignition coil. And I even told him that when I sold it to him. It always needed one of the coils is so out of range, it takes a while for it to come on board. So when the bike starts up, it's like boom, 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 on one cylinder. And then you can hear the other one start to kick in as the engine warms up. As the engine warms up and starts to build a little bit of heat, it's like boom, 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 and then it'll start. Then the whole bike will just come to life, and it's always the way that bike has been. And then once it's alive, it'll run all day, all night, flawlessly, and it's been like that. Well, for 30 years, so it's crazy. Let's see. KE has been since from 81. 2011. Wow, 500 original miles. Jeez, that's great. Get a lot of love. Hey, you know what though? You got a bike that's been sitting since '81. What color is that? Is that black? Just wondering. I seen a couple of black KE 100s, and I saw a couple of blue KE 100s, and I think those are just awesome colors. Um, that's a good starting point though. That's how I love getting. I love getting bikes that have been sitting for that long. You get a bike that's been sitting for since '81, and now into 2011. Okay, and you get that bike up and going. That feeling you get when that bike comes to life for you, that's awesome. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, yeah. Candy sky blue. Yep, I knew it was either gonna be black or blue. I just had that feeling. I know these bikes, and I'll tell you. Yep, 76, same year as I am. Yep, 47 years old that bike is. That's great. Good for you. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Yep, I love that blue color. I know exactly what. In fact, I had. If you look at my video of my KM100, my 76 KM100 was the same color. In fact, it was just a KM100, but it's the sister to your bike. I don't have it no more, but I did. I sold it. Um, right there. Typically not. I mean, they're pretty smooth. I'll start my bike if I'll let you hear it. My KM is a little on the noisy side. In fact, that thing just developed a leak over the summer, over the winter. I mean, I got to do the clutch cover gasket, but no, I mean, for the most part, you can hear the rotary valve. They're not super quiet, but yeah, they can be noisy. The crank bearing is you'll hear a growl. If it's a growl like I can't pronounce I can't mimic it, but like a as it's running, that growl sound, you can hear the balls going in the track, of the bearings. When I do my what do you call it there? My DS80, I'll let you hear that. In fact, hold on a second. I got right here. Here we go. These are what your crank bearings look like right here. And what happens is when that crank seal, the seal that on the outside of this goes, it allows the dirt to get inside here, and then this bearing is no longer smooth. It doesn't spin smoothly anymore. You can't just spin it like that. It gets really rough, and typically when that happens, the bearing's just gone. So yeah, that's one of the crank bearings that they look like. Just a simple ball bearing, but yeah. So typically that's bad seals that go first. They allow dirt to get in, and it burns them up. Or if you have it like like a crankshaft air leak, a crank seal air leak will do that. And typically you'll see signs of that would be white smoke. The engine would rev, but it won't calm down right away. So when you rev up the engine and you let off of it, it's still a high idle, and then it slowly comes back down to idle. That's another sign of an air leak or a bad crank seal, which would be the same thing. If you rev up the engine and then you let off of it and it falls on its face, it just idles right down. That's a good tight engine. So can you? Yeah, you can perform a vacuum test, a vacuum pressure test. Once again, it's a sometimes you'll have to make the tooling, which is what I did. I did a video on vacuum pressure testing a while back. I do it on any rebuild I do. I always do a pressure test. It should hold 5 bar for a minute or 30 seconds, but I like to go a minute. I like to see that there's what do you call it there? That it's hold. If it's a strong engine, it should hold really, really well. Especially if it's a fresh engine. So also too, what I like to do is, this going to sound crazy, but fingernail polish, women's fingernail polish. When you put the seal on, okay, not the center part where the shaft comes through, but the outer edge, I like to take some clear clear fingernail polish and go around the outside of it, because I have seen imperfections on seals, and that right there seals them right up good. Same thing with Welch plugs. If I'm putting a Welch plug in a carburetor, I'll go around the outside of the Welch plug with fingernail polish, because it's an acrylic, so it really seals it up nicely. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I try to teach. That's what I do. I'm a teacher because I want you guys to have the same experience that I have with my bikes, and that's enjoyment. And you guys out in the field are doing something that I can't rescue every bike. I can't. As much as I would love to keep these around for generations, we are a dying breed. Okay, there is less and less mechanics. There is bikes being scrapped and trashed and junked, and God only knows. So if I have the KE Army, if we will, right? The KE Army all over the United States, and you guys are saving these bikes, picking them up, buying these bikes, and you guys come to my channel. You'll learn something. You go out in the world, you save a couple of bikes, and now these bikes can be passed down generation, generation, generation. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. And it's an honor for me to teach from YouTube. I've never seen anything. I never knew that this channel was going to do what it's done, and it's a real honor. Yeah, yeah, you can use light blue Loctite. I like the what do you call it there? I like the fingernail polish because it's an acrylic. It's you can use paint too. In fact, when I didn't have fingernail polish, what I used to do is if the engine was black, I used to take a can of black spray paint. I take a like a cap, so like a coffee cap or something, from like a lid. I'd spray a whole bunch of it on there, and I use one of those little brushes, and I'd go around the outer part. That's what I did with that. Loctite's kind of expensive, and it's for bolts. Um, and it does the same thing, but I like the what do you call it there? The fingernail polish because it's quick and easy. It's got the little the little brush, and if you really want to get technical, you could do like if the motor's black, you can get black fingernail polish. If you have a white motor, you can use white. Whatever you want to use. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you can do whatever works for you. As long as you seal the outside of that seal. Loctite and fingernail polish will do exactly the same thing, or paint. Um, what do you call it there? Sometimes my wife doesn't like to use, she has fingernail polish and has only got a little bit left. Instead of throwing it away, I'll use the rest of it up in there, you know. So, and if you get the another thing too, you can do too, if you have a bike, and speaking about fingernail polish, if you have a bike and it's got a scratch, you can go and get that. You can go use fingernail polish because it's an acrylic paint. You can use that right there to do touch up. It might be a little off, but at least it won't rust and make it worse. So, and it'll look okay. You can probably kind of blend it in if you want. So, there's another little tip for you. Yeah, but no, I do appreciate everybody here. Just because, what do you call it there? Um, of what we do, and you guys have been a big part of this channel, a very, very large part of this channel. And you guys come up with some of the best. You guys will be talking to me, and we'll have a conversation. You'll mention a problem you're having with your bike. I'm thinking to myself, did I cover that on my channel? And a lot of these videos are from you guys' ideas. So just some chit chatting with you. So thank you guys for all that. I really, really appreciate that. So, but yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a hell of a year this year, guys. We're gonna have a hell of a year. Do you have any family No, no. Yeah, there is a lot of Bergerons down there, but no, I don't have any family in Louisiana. I actually was supposed to move south this year, but it all fell apart. So we're staying in Massachusetts. Look at Charlie was. Um, yeah, we're staying here. I was going to open up a bike shop down in South Carolina, but that changed. So it's kind of really not in the cards right now. And I can't really do it in Massachusetts because it's we got so seasonal. So I'm just going to stay with the YouTube thing and see where that goes. And we're just going to keep plugging away. I'd like to build a garage, but this year I got to do a septic system on the house, and who knows? We'll see how it goes. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, I want to do so much, but I'm so limited on the funding, and honestly, I don't really, like I told you guys before, I don't really. YouTube doesn't pay nothing. You don't make much on YouTube, so um, whatever I buy, fix, or sell, that's all out of pocket. So it's one of those things, but it's rewarding. I meet some really cool people. We're gonna be doing going to some shows this year, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Definitely some in the fall. They have the Rice Rama and stuff like that. I want to go to this year. I didn't get to go last year, and I want to see how many bikes I can purchase and pick up, and for content and see what we got. Like I said, I got rid of a few bikes because I was in the process of moving, so had to let a few of those go. But yeah, it's pretty cool. That Andrew?
Yep.
All right. So I have a guest, which is also my son. You guys have met him before, but this is a little different. Andrew, why don't you come on over? So Andrew, I wish I could go to Florida. I'm going to Florida for Thanksgiving. So everybody, you guys remember my son Andrew? Andrew, why don't you tell him a little bit about what's going on?
So I'm making a channel.
Andrew's making a YouTube channel. It's called Andrew Bergeron. And Andrew, tell him about what you'll be doing on there.
I'll be doing gaming and sports.
Gaming and sports. So the channel is up, but it only has one video on there right now. But if you guys get a chance to go over, his name is Andrew Bergeron. There's a picture of me and him on there, so you can't miss us. And yeah, definitely go over there and subscribe and give this little guy some love. All right. So
All right.
Andrew, thank you on starting your channel, and I look forward to working with you.
All right.
All right, buddy. Let's see. Just want to see. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that, Mark. And it's one of those things where I wasn't, like I told you guys heard my story. This channel wasn't even supposed to happen. I didn't want to start the channel. I didn't want to do YouTube. I never even used YouTube prior to starting it. And my son, Michael, he's like, Dad, you got to do a YouTube channel. And I said, there's probably a ton of people doing what I'm doing. And turns out there wasn't anybody. Everybody was just showing off their bikes, and this is my bike. And they'd start it up, walk around it, and then that was the end of it. So I saw an opportunity, a window there, and I'm very grateful for starting this channel in 2016. And I didn't expect it to be what it is, and I want to keep growing it. And I love my audience. You guys are amazing, and you guys come up with some great content. Just the ideas, just when we're chit-chatting on the phone. A lot of you guys I talk to on the phone. How do I contact you? So I give you my number, and then we'll chit-chat. And man, I'll tell you, you guys have been outstanding. Sometimes there's been days where I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do a video on. Hey, Kevin, can I talk to you for a second? Yeah, we got. And I have this problem with my bike, and it could be like the chain keeps slipping or the clutch is slipping. Oh, okay. Perfect opportunity to do a video on clutch. I have a bike that needs a clutch. I'll go do a video on how to do a clutch. And it's worked out amazing. So keep those ideas rolling. And once again, it's a new year. It's a new season. I guess a new season of the Kevin Bergeron channel, YouTube channel. And yeah, I mean, let's see what we can do this year. This year is going to be great. So, and some of the stuff I wish I did content on, like my truck, for instance, here's one that I could have done a video on, but my channel is based on dirt bikes and motorcycles. Well, my transmission went on my pickup truck. I went through 3 transmissions. This happened in November. I got to the point where nobody had my transmission. I have a 1986 F-150. And so I had to rebuild it myself. So I'm a professional Ford mechanic. That's what I've done in my career. So I literally rebuilt the transmission here at the house in my laundry room. And yeah, so it's crazy. And I performanced it and fixed all the problems with it. And it's just been crazy. Now the transmission's been wonderful. Love it. But yeah, so I don't do that type of content on the channel. I do some life hacks and some small stuff like automotive if I'm working on something quick and easy. But I am going to do a video showing off the truck. It's not perfect by any stretch, but yeah, I do love it. I just put Bronco bucket seats in console, not console yet, but the bucket seats are in. And yeah, I'm going to do a video on it showing off my 351 Windsor and my AOD and all that. So, and doing a little walk around of what I did to it and what I have left to do to it. So, but yeah, I mean, stuff like that, I don't know how much you guys want of that type of content. I have generators, small engine stuff. I will be doing some of that type of stuff in there, but my friend Musty One, he does a lot of that on his channel. Honda four wheelers and three wheelers. My, what do you call it there? My friend up north does, and I'm sorry, I'm just lost for words right now. But yeah, we have, all kinds of Harvey Spooner. There it is. I couldn't think of it. It was right on the tip of my tongue. Couldn't say it. Harvey Spooner. He does the four wheels and three wheels. In fact, I have to. I'll be hanging out with him this year again. We have to go up to his place and drop off some stuff. So yeah, I mean, we it's it's gonna be a great year. It's gonna be a great year, and I can't wait to you guys on see what we can do for finds. And I'm gonna take you guys on the hunts with me. I think I'm gonna start doing that. I think that'd be great. And those videos will be labeled road trip. So you guys will see firsthand how I got the bike. Typically when I do a first look is basically it's in the back of my truck already. You didn't even see where it came from. I think that what I'm going to start doing is showing where the bike was sitting, and it's as I get it, and then you can really see where they come from and the condition. And like, oh my God, you got your hands full with that one. I am looking for more bikes. I'm looking for a Yamaha XS 650. I had one before. I love the bike. I'm looking for a Honda Matic. I had one of those before, 400. But yeah, no, we're gonna have a lot of bikes, a lot of content, and a lot of modifications. So feel be ready for modification because you're gonna be learning a lot with what you can do with these little bikes. Mind you, we're not gonna be breaking the land speed record at the Daytona Salt Flats with them. But I will show you how you can get a little bit more power out of them. Keeping in mind that the clutches are really small. So we don't want to blow up a clutch by too much power. But we can increase the power enough to get a little bit more performance and drivability out of the bike. And I'm going to teach you guys the difference between performance and drivability. There's quite a bit of difference in those. And oftentimes people confuse them for the same thing and they're not. So we'll be getting into videos like that, suspension mods, how you can, get these bikes to handle a little bit better, without weighing the bike down. The KE102 build, I definitely want to get back onto that. That's going to be a fun build. I can't wait to ride that bike. It's going to be a fun bike. And for those of you who do not know what a KE102 build is, this is a bike of my design. And when I say my design, it started its life as a KE100, and it is a collaboration of all the other bikes. For instance, the front wheel is from a Yamaha Special 50, and it features disc brakes. The gauges, excuse me, from a Honda MB5, and they have it has a tachometer with the same red line as the KE100. So you're going to see that it's going to have a speedometer and tachometer, and my bike has been outfitted with a tachometer on it. All LED lighting, 12 volts, and the battery power in this bike is a Milwaukee battery. So it's a Milwaukee M12 battery, and that powers that entire bike. What do you call it there? Everything has been modified, but the bike, the design features of it is I can't cut, weld, or anything to the frame. The frame has to be a factory frame. Bars, tank, seat, all that's going to be just the way it is, with some exceptions. So, and you'll see those. We're also going to do what do you call it there? Like the paint and stuff like that. The frame is green. Excuse me. It's going to scream 1980s. That's what I'm looking forward to do with this bike, is make this bike scream 1980s. I want this bike to have the green frame, the purple seat, the white tank with the purple, decals on it. So it's going to be a pretty nice bike when we're done with it. So I can't wait to do it. And it's a 10-speed. It's a KE100, bored out, not stroke, but bored out. It's got a high compression cylinder head on it. The carburetor has been outfitted with a power jet. So it's got 3 jets on the bike. It's got the idle jet, the main jet, and a power jet, which the power jet works from 3/4 throttle to full. Sorry guys, I apologize. I am so tired. What do you call it there? It's got CDI ignition, all that. So yeah, it's pretty neat. It's a pretty nice build. Once again, 10-speed. So I had the case modified to fit a 10-speed transmission gearbox in there. So that'll be fun in there. Yep, that's the 10-speed. It's got the high and low. What do you call it? And we did that just because we could. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun bike. I can't wait to get that done. And I can't wait to get the other Hondas and all that up and going. So yep, I'm gonna take my Honda 50 out and get that fired up. And Dale Swager, I gotta get my what do you call it there? My CT70 frame up to him, because he's going to be doing the body work and all that, the modifications. So actually, I got to talk to him. I got to send him up there with that. So, oh yeah, thank you. Yep. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun sending that bike up to him and getting that frame done. And while he's doing that, I got to do the engine. The engine, I'm probably going to end up buying another one, because what they did to that poor motor. So back then, people did what people could do to get something up and going. It was a lot of hackery, a lot of, I don't have metric bolts. I've got a plethora of standard bolts, but no metric bolts. So I had to do that. Oh, hey, Mr. Bear. My dog is in here with me. Bear, you gotta go out there, buddy. Dad, no, out there. Come, move. Excuse me 1 second, guys. Come, go. Bear, move. Jesus. Bear, come on, buddy. Move. Out. Come on, Dad, go. Wow. He's like a bull in a China factory right there. Woo. Sorry about that, guys. Wow. Yeah, he don't turn around. He's 2 years old. He's a chocolate lab. He don't turn around very easily. He takes up all the room. Oh my God, knocked everything over. So yeah, a lot of fun. So we're gonna have a lot of stuff to do this year, guys. I can't wait. I'm looking so forward to it, especially putting that rack on my bike. So, and we're gonna do some riding videos too. So we'll see what we can do. Take it out for a spin, and then we'll discuss the builds. how we built it and what we did and what we have to do to them. So, um, and of course, bringing you guys along with these adventures and stuff like that from start to finish. As you guys know, we've done a few of them so far. It really means a lot to me, and I've influenced a few people like Art, Arnie, and Miles. They built a couple of KE100s and stuff like that. Um, and earlier on when I first started the channel and I started working on the KE100s, school systems have used my videos in their tech classes, which I thought was amazing. So we keep it clean, we keep it direct, and we use actual specifications. Once again, guys, the best tool you can purchase if you purchase a bike, I don't care what it is, get yourself a manual. Get a climber, get a Haynes. Sometimes you can't get either. Get the knockoff or whatever purchase book that you can get. And if you see these books, okay, if you see these books in yard sales, flea markets, offer them a couple bucks. See if you can score them, okay? Because these are going away, and it's very hard. I was talking to a person, and he's like, Kevin, I threw away a whole ton of books. I didn't know you back then. I would have just gave them to you. I threw them away in the trash. I'm like, oh my god, seriously? Like that's what's happening. People, it's a wasteful. Well, we'll just get the information online. Okay, some of this information you just can't go on Google and find. Okay, Google is great, but it doesn't have everything you need. And typically, if you ever had to look up a wiring diagram on Google, they just show you wiring diagrams for who the hell knows what the hell you're looking at. Okay, you can't even confirm it or deny if that's the one you need. I mean, I've looked up diagrams on Google, and it's like, this ain't what I'm looking for. And by the time you figure it out, it's an hour lost. So if you get a chance to get some manuals, doesn't matter if it's a knockoff or not a knockoff, but a no name or factory manual, this is a factory manual, grab it. If it's a Haynes manual, grab it. If it's a climber, grab it. If you already have two of them and you see a third, grab it, post it, sell it, but keep it alive. Because this is what we're up against right now. Everything right now is being thrown away. Our generation, we love bikes. This generation, all they care about is being on the couch with a cell phone or a laptop and, look at this funny video, this cat video. We're not cat video people. We're bike people. That's what we do. We're bikers. So we gotta stick together on that. Save these. Help the next guy. Grab these things. If they say, $10, I'll give you $5. They'll take $5 for it. Stuff like that. So yeah, if you can save them, please, I'm begging you, save them. Same thing with the bikes and parts. If there's some parts that you see, I'm just gonna throw them away. Grab them, throw them online. Let someone else buy them. And the reason for that is because these things are going in the scrap piles so much, so fast, so quickly. And the parts and pieces are harder and harder and harder to find. Cylinders, KE100 cylinders. I sold a few of them a while back, okay? Because they're all scored. People, my cylinder's scored. Kevin, do you have a cylinder? I do. $150. There you go. Right? And I had the piston with it. Here's the cylinder and piston from a nice KE100 motor, right? $150. Boom, sold it. What'd you do with the old cylinder? Oh, it was junk. I threw it away. No, it's not junk. That could have been bored. That could have been re-nickel. That was a good cylinder. You threw it away. Just because it's scored doesn't mean it's bad. It means it needs to be reworked to be good again. Now, that's one less cylinder, and nobody's making them. Nobody's reprinting, remanufacturing cylinders for a KE100, especially when the government has their hand in it going, that's a two-stroke. It's a pollutant. Let's get it gone. So this is what we have to do. We have to save these things. If you got a bad cylinder, it still has value. It still has value. I would happily buy a junk cylinder for $40. I'd spend $40. Hey, you can get rid of that? I'll buy it off you for $40. Done. Here's $40. Mail it to me. All day long. Perfect. And then I'll take it and bore it out and have it remixed. Same thing with pistons. Everybody's looking for new old stock pistons. Why? Because the only one that makes them right now is Wiseco. Well, the problem is with the Wiseco pistons is they're racing pistons. They don't last as long as the factory, so you got to keep getting rings for them, and the rings, coincidentally, don't really like Nicosile. So, okay, well, what do we do with that? Well, we have to run it. That's what we have to do. We turn up the oil just a smidge and hope for the best, But it is what it is. And they'll run great, but you won't get the life expectancy you would with a new old stock piston. But people want stupid money for a new old stock piston. So what do we do there? We're kind of, our hands are tied. So keep that type of stuff in mind before you go and throw the parts away, because they all have a value. Just because it's junk, like even a switch. I had a bike one time that the switches were all there, screwed to the handlebars. The two screws underneath were stripped out, and they cut the wiring. Okay, I extracted the two screws and put the switch in the drawer. Now, about a year and a half went by. I needed a switch. I went to the drawer. I had already extracted the bolts. Now all I had to do is take the wiring off my old one, resolder it to the new one, and I have a perfectly good working switch. That's a money saver, and it saved the part. And then what I did with the old one is the switch was bad. I took the broken switch out. That can go because you can't fix that. But the housing is good. I know it sounds like a pack rat type thing, but coincidentally, I got my KM, and that thing needed a housing. So it all worked out in the end. I'm like, wow, this thing's made it from a KE to a KM, to another, from a KE to a KE to a KM. And it's like, wow, okay, I gotta save these parts. So that's why I literally stopped selling parts, because people just taking everything you sold them. They were taking their old stuff, instead of sending it back to you, they were just sending it to the scrap. And then it's one more part that's not on there. And if everybody does that, who owns these bikes, we're going to be in big trouble in the next 10, 15 years, So it's not a housing. Yeah, it literally, yeah, it's literally, we gotta stick together. We gotta hold these parts. We gotta take these parts and we gotta rework them and get them out in the world, because people are in need of parts, because they bought a bike that someone just rode it until it didn't run no more, parked it, and then that's it. Then me, we come along. Hey, what do you want for that bike? Oh, a couple $100. Oh, okay, here you go. We take the bike home. Now we need parts. Now it's our problem. It was their problem. They gave up on it. They didn't want to get rid of the bike because someday they were going to fix it. There's the key word, someday. They were going to fix it. Someday they were going to fix it. And there's no such thing as someday. So the bike sat in back of the shed, or on the side of the shed, and in some cases even under the shed. And then they sit there going, well, I'm going to fix it up someday. Someday it's going to be a great bike. That never happens. Then they sell it, and by the time you get it or I get it, it's junk. I mean, for all intents and purposes, some of the bikes, you guys seen some of the stuff I got going. It a seized up KM100. It should never be running. Now it is. So, and that's what we do. So we're rescuing these bikes. We're saving these bikes. We're bringing these bikes back, and that's what we're going to continue doing. And now we have a new season, guys. So looking forward to being out there in the shed, just waiting for the weather to break a little bit more. And then once this weather breaks, we are good to go. So we'll have a whole new season being out there turning wrenches. So I'm looking forward to it. So, I have cramps in my legs. It's wicked bad tonight. So bad. So, yep. And then work is going great. So everything's going good there. We're in full swing. So a lot of wrenching going to be turned. So anyway, guys, I'm heading off. I gotta get it cleaned up and get ready for bed. I just want to say thank you guys for hanging out with me in the chat, and you guys have a great night. Thank you, Tom. And once again, guys, thank you for all you guys do, all your support, and it's really great to see you guys. And I'm really looking forward to having an amazing new season. And hopefully, if I can get some type of shed or something with heat, we can do this stuff throughout the throughout the winter, and it won't be a season. It'll be a year-long thing is what I was hoping for, but we'll see. All right, well, you guys have a good night. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'm out. We got to get that on a shirt. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.